Sparks fly on the east side of our state as the Republican candidates for governor square off on the debate stage with less than 2 weeks to go before the August primary.
We have team coverage tonight. Political reporter Rickalvin in late to give us his big takeaways, but we want to begin with Byron Tollefson with a recap of the debate.
With the primary election less than 2 weeks away, polls have shown this race to be a toss-up, but one candidate was the clear target on stage tonight. Fireworks at the GOP gubernatorial debate tonight, with multiple candidates going after Tudor Dixon.
The fact of the matter is the DeVos family owns you. You're our version of Gretchen Whitmer. You'll say anything or do anything to get elected.
Well, my definition of established is basically your entire campaign.
I know you lied to the Michigan people that you did not go to a meeting to try to get the DeVos support, but this is your biggest attack against me. It was not a restaurant association. I believe that they are attacking me because they're behind and because they're afraid they're losing this race.
We don't need this petty bickering over little things. We need people who are honest.
Garrett Soldano tonight, accusing Dixon of not campaigning hard enough against pandemic lockdowns, to which she denied.
Where were you in 2020? That holds a lot of weight for me and a lot of other Michiganders who have been directly affected, not only with their businesses shut down, over 3,000 restaurants have shut down permanently, but also the mental health crisis that this governor put us in.
Ryan Kelly, who was charged in the January 6th Capitol riot, said during the debate he's being silenced.
I got booted off Airbnb, as I mentioned there, for being in Washington, D.C. on January 6th. And, you know, number one, there was no crime committed. Number two, these charges, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. And the woke corporations are canceling me.
Earlier in the debate, during a discussion about gun violence, Kelly said it's a baseless claim to call an AR-15 an assault weapon.
They don't do it. They sit there and they do nothing unless someone else does something with it. Assault is not an object. Assault is something someone does. You can have an assault podium right here if I were to throw at somebody.
With the primary election less than 2 weeks away, multiple candidates tonight urging former President Trump not to endorse a candidate in the race.
So far into the race, people are already casting their votes. And I really feel the people just need to choose, and we don't need outside influence.
Both Kelly and Soldano say they would accept the former president's endorsement if he does weigh in. Polls have shown this race to be wide open, with many voters still undecided.
We have to not only heal the state, we have to heal the party.
Benton Harbor's water crisis was brought up at the beginning of the debate, with Ralph Reband saying the state is having a pandemic of water issues. In Rochester, Byron Tollefson, News 8.
Political reporter Rickalvin joining us now. And Rick, you watched the debate. What stood out to you?
Well, I think kind of the last minute kind of universal need to be seen and heard on that debate stage tonight, because I think there's a feeling that the candidates are running out of time. Kelly and Soldano took on Rinke and Dixon, and then Rinke jumped into the fray you saw there to go after Dixon. Not surprising, a third poll showing Dixon in the lead or tied for it came out today. Rinke has closed part of the gap between he and Dixon. There's also some indication that that bump that Kelly got with all the attention surrounding his arrest and charges may have stalled, and Soldano has not been able to build much on his base. So, logical thing to do, go after the candidates that you think are, that appear to be in the lead. And in most polls, that would be Dixon, then followed by Rinke. Otherwise, the candidates recited their positions as they have in a number of debates and seem to share largely the same viewpoints, with the exception that each one of them believes he or she could do the job better than the other four that are on the stage.
These debates have attracted a lot of attention. Will it change any minds?
It's always very difficult to know, and even after the fact, it's difficult to see in numbers. But think about it this way: in most debates, I generally consider that they reinforce what voters were thinking going in, and I don't think anybody disqualified themselves tonight, so nobody made that big mistake. But with about a quarter of the voters now in this latest poll saying they're still undecided, and as I said at 10 o'clock, with 2 weeks left to go, if you haven't decided, are you really going to go to vote? It's a little hard to know. But I guess the other thing is we look at the numbers, because thousands, tens of thousands of votes have already been cast. In Kent County alone, for example, more than 76,000 absentee ballots have been issued. More than 28,000 have been returned. Multiply that by 83 counties, I get it, of varying sizes, but that's still a lot of votes that have already been cast. 4 years ago, just shy of 1 million votes in the Republican governor's primary race. Make of that what you will, but time is definitely running out, and the final note is Donald Trump. Does he endorse? If he does, who does he endorse? And if he does endorse, is it too late to make a difference? All of those are things that I don't think you can answer right now.
Here comes August.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Speaking of which, Wood TV is your local election headquarters. You can find our full coverage of this race and the entire Republican primary at woodtv.com.